Imagine stepping off a plane and discovering you no longer exist, or worse, that you've become someone else entirely, someone dangerous. This is what happened to Sarah Martinez, a software engineer who thought she was just catching a flight to London. What she discovered instead was a hidden world where your face can become your prison. Sarah's story begins like thousands of others, with a routine business trip, but it ends in a place that shouldn't exist in our modern world. A digital limbo where algorithms hold more power than human judgment, and where being innocent isn't enough to set you free. October 15, 2024. Sarah Martinez's alarm goes off at 5:30 a.m. in her small apartment overlooking San Francisco Bay. She's done this dance so many times it's become ritual. Shower, coffee, final check of her presentation slides. Today feels no different from the dozens of international trips she's taken for work. As she packs, Sarah's mind is already in London, rehearsing her keynote about cybersecurity vulnerabilities in financial systems. She's proud of this presentation, months of research distilled into insights that could help banks protect millions of customers, if only she knew how personal those vulnerabilities were about to become. The ride to SFO is quiet. Sarah watches the city wake up through tinted windows, feeling that familiar mixture of excitement and fatigue that comes with international travel. She texts her sister, "Off to London, back Friday. We'll bring you something ridiculous from Harrods." It's the last normal conversation she'll have for weeks. Sarah Martinez weaves through the familiar chaos of San Francisco International Airport. For her, this routine feels almost meditative, the ritual of travel she's performed dozens of times. London for a conference, back by Friday. Just another week in her carefully organized life. As Sarah approaches the gate scanner, she notices the TSA agent's screen flickering. The facial recognition system, the same technology used by over 100 airports worldwide, seems to be having issues. The agent shrugs, manually checks her passport, and waves her through. Later, Sarah will remember this moment as the last time a human being looked at her face and saw just Sarah Martinez, software engineer from California. From here forward, she'll become something else entirely, a ghost in the machine, a glitch with a heartbeat. Her first flight takes her to JFK in New York, a familiar layover she's done dozens of times. During the 3-hour connection, Sarah grabs coffee and responds to emails, watching the usual chaos of one of the world's busiest airports. She's always found something oddly comforting about the predictable rhythms of travel. Sarah's phone buzzes with a message from her conference organizer. "Can't wait for your presentation tomorrow. The audience is particularly excited about your section on identity fraud prevention." Sarah smiles, typing back, ready to blow their minds with some scary statistics. She has no idea she's about to become one of those statistics. The overnight flight to London is less crowded. Sarah settles into her window seat as the plane pushes back from the gate, watching the lights of Manhattan fade below. Soon, there's nothing but the vast darkness of the Atlantic Ocean stretching endlessly beneath them. During the flight, Sarah reviews her presentation slides, occasionally glancing out at the dark Atlantic below. She's speaking about cybersecurity vulnerabilities, the small cracks in digital systems that can have enormous consequences. She has no way of knowing that far beneath her, in a server facility humming quietly in Virginia, her own digital identity is about to slip through just such a crack. The automated systems are performing their nightly synchronization, millions of records flowing between databases like digital rivers converging. It's a process that happens every night, invisible and usually flawless. But tonight, something goes wrong. In the vast stream of data, Sarah Martinez's biometric signature gets tangled with another profile, a profile that carries a very different kind of history. Sarah wakes as the plane touches down at Heathrow. She stretches, checks her phone, 6:47 a.m. local time. Perfect. She'll be at her hotel by 8, have time for a proper shower and breakfast before her presentation. Everything is going according to plan. But as Sarah walks through the jet bridge, she's no longer the same person who boarded the flight in New York. According to every security database in the world, Sarah Martinez no longer exists. In her place is someone far more dangerous. The screen flashes red, and Sarah feels her stomach drop. She's traveled internationally dozens of times, and she's never seen that color before. The border agent's expression changes. not hostile, but suddenly very, very serious. The change in the officer's demeanor is immediate and unsettling. Sarah finds herself guided, not roughly but firmly, away from the main flow of passengers. The detention room is sterile and windowless, with the kind of fluorescent lighting that makes everything feel unreal. "There must be some mistake," Sarah says to the empty room. Her voice sounds strange in the silence, too loud, too desperate. She checks her phone obsessively, as if the small screen might provide answers that the larger world seems unable to give. Hours pass. Sarah tries to sleep on the plastic chair, but every time she closes her eyes, she imagines her conference starting without her. Her carefully prepared presentation gathering dust while she sits in this fluorescent limbo. She thinks about calling her sister, but what would she say? "I'm detained in London for reasons no one can explain?" It's well into the afternoon before anyone explains what's happening. When a supervisor finally arrives, she slides a tablet across the table with an almost apologetic expression. On the screen is Sarah's own photograph, but beside it are details that belong to someone else entirely. Someone the system believes is very dangerous indeed. "This isn't me," Sarah says, pointing at the details. "I work for a tech company in San Francisco. I've never even had a speeding ticket." The supervisor nods sympathetically. "I understand, Miss Martinez, but the system shows you were flagged by multiple intelligence agencies. My hands are tied." Stories like this aren't entirely unprecedented. In recent years, there have been cases of facial recognition errors causing real problems for real people. What makes Sarah's situation particularly troubling is how the system handles uncertainty. When in doubt, it defaults to rejection, leaving little room for human judgment. The officials are apologetic but firm. They can't arrest Sarah because the evidence is clearly flawed, but they also can't allow her entry while their system shows a security flag. The solution seems simple. Put her on the next flight back to New York. Hearing this, Sarah thinks this nightmare is finally over. But as Sarah's return flight takes off from Heathrow, she has no idea that the same automated systems responsible for her detention are quietly making everything worse. While she sits 30,000 feet above the Atlantic, her corrupted biometric profile is spreading across databases worldwide. By the time Sarah's plane touches down at JFK, she won't just be flagged in the UK system anymore. She'll be trapped in a digital prison that spans continents, and there may be no way out. What happens when Sarah tries to return home? What she discovers at JFK will reveal a conspiracy that reaches far beyond a simple computer glitch. If you want to find out how deep this digital rabbit hole goes, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because Part 2 drops next week. And here's what I want you to think about while you wait. Every time you travel internationally, your face is scanned, stored, and shared across dozens of databases. The same technology that's supposed to keep us safe could trap any one of us in the same nightmare that's about to consume Sarah Martinez. Have you ever had a strange experience at airport security? A delay that didn't make sense? Let me know in the comments, because after you see Part 2, you might look at those experiences very differently. Subscribe now, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next week for the shocking conclusion of the digital border trap.